they see that there was this essentially a mob, an angry mob. And I would say that at least when it came to Derek Chauvin, their anger was justified. But we had an angry mob, not just in Minneapolis, but around the country, that was essentially demanding that Derek Chauvin be found guilty. We even had Maxine Waters, who was a sitting congresswoman who made such allusions to why it needed to absolutely be a guilty verdict that the judge in the case is saying that Derek Chauvin actually has a fairly good chance at an appeal because of what a sitting congresswoman was saying in terms of, it has to be a guilty verdict and not just manslaughter but murder.
Biden
Hey,
and
great, by
Harris
the way,
too.
great job. Yeah. Yeah, well, and great job, guys, for if Derek Chauvin ends up walking or getting a reduced sentence, it'll be because you
Right.
guys couldn't just keep your mouths shut. So fantastic work on that one.
Yep.
Here is my thing on this. And so in the midst of that, you have people saying you better vote guilty, you better vote guilty, you better vote guilty, and then the jury votes guilty, and they're happy. A lot
Right.
of us are sitting here thinking, well, did they vote guilty because he was guilty, or did they vote guilty because they were scared they weren't going to make it to their car if they didn't? And
Right.
I think that is a legitimate concern about what's going on here, is that there was an aspect of mob justice in terms of what people wanted. The reason I said that the verdict was just was absent all of those other factors. Okay, because if the verdict had if there had been an angry mob standing outside during the, I don't know, the Casey Anthony trial, which
Mm-hmm.
oddly enough she was found not guilty, but if there had been an angry
She would
mob
have been found
demanding that
less guilty. Less
less
guilty if there was a
guilty.
mob. Yes.
But if that had happened, right? If there had been an angry mob out there and she had been found guilty and they had cheered and applauded, I would have said, okay, well, I'm glad that she was found guilty. We need to address the fact that there is this growing mob that's happening and how we can deal with that. Because I mean, some of it came out of legitimate anger and frustration. It's
Right.
now molding into something else. Looking at just the facts of this case, Derek Chauvin already had George Floyd in custody. He was already detained. He was on the ground. Derek Chauvin put his knee on his neck and basically slowly suffocated him over the course of 8 or 9 minutes until he lost consciousness and then eventually lost his pulse. Another police officer came over, checked, and saw that he did not have a pulse, and Derek Chauvin continued to keep his knee on his neck for a good almost 2 minutes after that. This was the action of someone who was trying to kill someone else, and that's what the jury based this on. Did Derek Chauvin have a reason to believe that he needed to continue to use force in order to protect himself or those around him? And he didn't. He didn't even need use of force to have compliance. A body without a pulse
Right.
cannot resist. So that's really what it came down to.